You know that feeling? You throw an amazing party, everything goes great, your friends have a blast, and then the second that last person walks out the door, you just hit a wall. It's more than just being tired, right? It's like you're completely and totally wiped. Well, let's get into it, because there's a really fascinating reason why doing something so wonderful can leave you feeling so drained.
It's such a strange paradox when you think about it. I mean, you love your friends, you love your home, so you'd think putting them together would be pure joy. So why does it sometimes feel like you've just run a mental marathon? That's the big question we're going to unpack.
And right off the bat, I want you to know it is not just you. This feeling isn't some sign that you're secretly antisocial or a bad host. Nope. It's actually a deep biological and psychological response. It's your brain flicking a switch into a very specific and very demanding host mode.
We're going to call this the hosting hangover. And no, it's not from the wine, it's from the experience itself. So what's really going on here? Well, it turns out it's a tale of two powerful forces working at the exact same time. Okay, so let's start with the first force, the one that's happening under the surface. It all begins with a really simple idea. Your home isn't just a place with a roof. On a very primal level, it's your territory. And that brings us to this key concept, territorial stress. Now, what's so wild about this is that it's almost entirely subconscious. Even when you've invited people you absolutely adore into your home, some ancient part of your brain registers their presence as an occupation of your safe space, and that triggers this subtle, low-grade buzz of anxiety. So what feeds this stress? Well, think about it. Your personal routines get totally thrown out the window. You lose a little bit of control, right? Suddenly someone else is using your favorite mug, or they're sitting in your spot on the sofa. Your brain sees all this as a tiny intrusion into its sanctuary, and it quietly gets to work defending its psychological turf, even if you're having the time of your life.
So that's the internal subconscious battle that's going on. But that's only half the story. While your brain is quietly defending its territory, you are consciously performing an incredibly demanding job. This is what we can call the unseen social work of being a host. And this job has a name: sustained social monitoring. Just picture yourself as the air traffic controller of the party. You're not just a participant, you're not just having fun, you are actively managing the entire social experience for everyone else. And let me tell you, that is serious, high-level mental work. Just think about the sheer amount of brain power this takes. You're constantly scanning the room, reading body language. Does Jen need a refill? Is Tom looking a little bored over there? You're trying to anticipate everyone's needs before they even know they have them. You're steering conversations away from awkward lulls, and you're making sure every single person feels seen and included. It's a nonstop performance.
All right, and here's where it all clicks into place. These two things, that subconscious territorial stress and the very conscious social monitoring, they don't just add up. Oh no, they mix together to create a uniquely potent stress cocktail. So this is the absolute key. You are fighting a battle on two totally different fronts at the same time. On the inside, your brain is dealing with that low-level hum of anxiety because your territory is occupied, and that drains your fundamental sense of security. And on the outside, you're doing this high-effort social performance, which, as you know, absolutely torches your social battery. You're being pulled in opposite directions, all at once. And this is how you get to total burnout. It's a three-step process. First, you start with that baseline hum of territorial stress. Then, on top of that, you layer the incredibly intense mental job of being the social monitor. So your brain is already a little on guard, and then you ask it to do this complex, high-stakes performance for hours. The result? A complete system crash the moment the stimulus, your guests, is finally gone.
But understanding all this doesn't have to be a drag. In fact, I think it gives us a really powerful new way to look at this whole experience. It allows us to completely reframe that feeling of exhaustion. That feeling of being completely wiped out isn't a personal failure. It's not a sign you didn't have fun. It is the physical, tangible proof of the incredible amount of effort, both seen and unseen, that you poured into making other people feel safe, comfortable, and welcome in your personal space. It's evidence of your generosity. So the next time you feel that hosting hangover kicking in, I want you to remember this. Your exhaustion isn't a personal flaw. It's simply the psychological price of admission for doing something truly kind, creating a space where people can connect and feel cared for. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Now that you know there's a real psychological cost to this work, how might that change the way you do it? Maybe it just means you ask for a little more help, or you simplify the food, or maybe it just means you give yourself permission to be tired afterward, no guilt attached. It's definitely something to think about.